Hello, friends. Good morning. I'm Alexi Bailey, and this is the Tell It Like It Is podcast. I have a very special guest today, Tera Chantelle.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Tera, you're doing so many big things. It's like, I'm excited. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This is about to be so much fun.
So, I like the most exciting thing is like the movies. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I've been in Atlanta for about 4 years and I jumped right into acting. And then once I started getting the hang of acting, I started producing and writing my own content. I'm like, we can do it all. We don't really got to limit ourselves and put us in a box. And especially instead of waiting for an opportunity, why not create it? We have the internet by our side now. And when you know people, you build relationships, it will take you to the next level, especially when you have an idea in your head. It's all about executing. And that's all I did. I just had a script in my heart and I put it on paper, then I put it on film, and it's available now on Amazon Prime called Royal Purpose.
That film is amazing.
You.
Really nice. It's really well shot. It looks amazing.
Yeah, that's that black magic. We really invested well. So it was truly an investment, just being the producer, the director, the writer, and even starting as well. And it showed me what I'm capable of. So now sky's the limit.
Can you tell us how you made that happen? Like, did you come to Atlanta with that plan?
No, I actually just came to Atlanta knowing that I had huge dreams that I was called to obtain to. And it was first, I just knew I was meant to just be on TV. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing on TV, but I always loved acting. And I started just doing background work, and then I started doing independent films, student films, and then Hollywood films as well. And then I just started just building a resume, building clientele, building like a whole bunch of footage as well. And just seeing my peers around me doing the exact same thing about creating their own independent films. And I'm like, I have the resources, I have the people, I got the money, I got the talent. So let's make it happen.
So how did you make this particular movie happen? Who did you work with? How did you?
Yeah, so I always meet people where I'm supposed to be. So I meet people on set, and I met a director, a camera op on set, and I told him about this film that I wanted to create, and he had all the equipment, and I was like, let's make it happen. I built up my friends as well, my girlfriends that helped me like do the behind the scenes with directing, like assistant producing. And then I also was connected to actors through like Actors Access. And it was just one step at a time, like post production and of course like editing that it takes to finish up the film as well. It's a lot that goes into films that I don't think people are aware of. It really takes the team. So it's a blessing to even be able to have done it.
What year did you put that out?
2019.
So that was like right before the pandemic.
Yes.
Did you guys have specific plans for promotion? Was that interrupted by COVID at all, or?
No, we don't let anything stop what's destined for God. You feel me? We can't make no excuses out here, but it was destined for Amazon Prime for other people just to watch, because it's my first independent short film. It's gonna be many more to come. So I was blessed to have that streaming site as the way for people to watch it.
Okay, I mean, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of things for us to talk about, right? Well, I recently shared that clip you had about the cheating is an illusion.
Hi, yo. That's how I feel.
Now, before we get into what exactly you meant behind it, so this was just one of your many videos, right?
Yes, we've been dropping wisdom, dropping free game for about 4 years. So it was just a matter of time to get some people's attention, and it caught the attention. It triggered some folks because it has some truth in there.
It's a lot of things that people aren't ready for sure.
Oh yeah, I was just the messenger. I was just the messenger. That's all I was. I was letting God use me there.
Where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
Cleveland, Ohio.
And Cleveland, Ohio gets cold. We have a lot of friends from up there.
Yeah.
What is the Black community like?
I surround myself with Black excellence. So I have great peers around me. I'm a good person. So you're just destined to be around good people. But I just looked up at I seen like the statistics about like the crime rate in like Cleveland, top 5. I said, look at us go.
So is that a part of the reason? Like, so talk to me. How did you? What was your? You grew up in Cleveland?
Yes, I grew up in Cleveland, and then I relocated to Atlanta about 4 to 5 years ago.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, you've done so much work. I noticed that you're getting into the spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
Right?
We are spiritual beings just really here having a human experience. So I don't take this life so seriously. I truly laugh a lot. I have fun. I don't have any worries. I embrace the unknown about this journey. That's what we're not going to know. Like, that's the truth of the matter. A lot of people are uncomfortable with not knowing the future. So they hold on to things that don't serve them, and they stay into situations that has no growth added to them. So I embrace not knowing what the future holds. I truly let God control every direction that I'm supposed to walk into.
So were you always, where did you find this? When did you realize you had this outlook? Like, did you struggle with that in the teenage years, or did you know it very early on?
I was blessed that my family always instilled godly values in us. My parents are still together to this day, so I had a great union to represent this foundation that was built. But then I also just started branching out to have my own intimate relationship with God, not having an organization being taught about God, just learning the universal laws, just learning who God is, and God is in all of us. It's like, why are we putting a limit on it? Why are we putting a cap on God? Why are we separating God? So God is in everything and in everyone. And once we see that, then we gonna start living different, and it's no difference between me or you. It's just truly amazing having an intimate relationship with God. And everybody's relationship with God is so different, and it's so unique, and it fits them. You can talk to God like your homie, your best friend, your father, your sister. It's like whatever way that works for you.
I think you're speaking to people who grew up with a very specific mindset about the relationship to God, and you're trying to say that people should get out of that.
I think you should do what works for you. Nobody, it's no rules to this life. Once you understand there's no rules to this life, the only rule to this life is making sure that you're joyful every single day, that you're happy, that you're enjoying and embracing life. But don't follow nobody's rules. They just made it up anyway. I feel.
Now, you have a lot to say about relationships, right?
Yes. I love me some relationships. I love healthy relationships.
Did you ever have healthy relationships like with men?
Yeah, I have very healthy relationships with men. Like right now, it's very platonic relationship, and it all stems from having a healthy relationship with myself. So in my early 20s, that's when we started developing healthy relationships. But in high school, of course, we just had a whole bunch of little puppy love. But I always had great friends, like great male friends.
So basically, I think you have a lot of clarity right now, right? And I think you're speaking a lot of empowerment to women and men, saying you should own your body, you should love your body, you should embrace who you are as a being and all of these things, and not fall into these narratives that gets people caught up in unhealthy relationships, and it causes a lot of problems for them.
Exactly. Once I took the shackles off my mind, especially for women, you will reach your power. You will step into your power and you will embrace your divinity. You will embrace your femininity and you will understand what you were destined to be. But we have been programmed, especially us women, to be in love with the thought of love, in love with the idea of love. And of course, it's these fairy tales, these R&B movies, it's these R&B songs that just making us fantasize over the idea of family, the idea of marriage, and not understanding, sis, don't forget about you. Don't forget about you, what you were destined to do. But we have been trained, especially women, to follow along, follow behind, and shut up. Don't don't do this, don't do that. But it's time that women step into their power. I think that's how the world is going, and that's how the world is moving, because women, we have been suppressed. And no wonder why the world is in shambles, because who is running it? It's time for women to really step into their power as women.
I mean, there's so many powerful women right now, and I think historically, the thing about women is that, history tells a story of them in the background, often leaves them out. But when you look at the story up close, you know that women had their hands in a lot of things. I definitely believe in the power of women and girl power and all of this femininity movement and all of these things.
Yeah. Yes, we need like men to be allies. We need men to actually not try to suppress women and tell women that our only role in life is to be a mother. Like that's, we are much more than that. And that should show men how powerful women are, because hello, you need a woman for you to even come here. So we should understand the godly power women hold.
What kind of projects are you working on now?
Right now I am transitioning into like the we in the fourth quarter. Time is moving so fast. So we have just been creating like content of just what's on our heart. It's called Terra Talk right now, especially just developing the podcast more and more. But of course, we're gonna continue to write, continue to film, and I'm actually starring into this movie, New Year, New Us. So we have a table read next, I think next week. So that's what I'm in that project. So I'm super excited about that.
So you got the part already?
Yes, it's actually New Year, New Us is a movie. It's on Amazon right now as
Right.
well. So it's gonna be we're gonna have another sequel to it. So that's about to be juicy.
Who was the director on the first part?
Nina Stacks.
And she's gonna be the director again?
Yes, that black woman be knowing what to do. I swear I'm surrounded by a beautiful black woman that shows me what's possible. It's truly inspiring.
And can you tell us about the New Year, New Us? That one, that film?
Yes, it's available on like all streaming platforms. It's Black love, beautiful. We did it independently in Atlanta, and we all linked up just with like-minded people, creating something with little to no budget. Now we have a budget. We've been picked up by streaming platforms. And it just shows like from puppy love to college love. It's a sequel. Just truly about Black love. Got some drama in there, some funny moments, but the cast is all Black, melanated, beautiful people. And we just showing it, putting on for the culture.
And this the one where the guy has the girlfriend?
Yeah.
Right. That one's it's pretty intense because there's a racial aspect there.
No, it's called New Year, New Us. I'm probably not talking about the same one.
How does Can you tell us about the plot for that?
Yeah, it is. It is about a millennial love story. So this love story is showing the ins and outs about like social media, what we go through on a day-to-day area right now. And then we left off with just a huge cliffhanger about the couple getting back together. So it just shows the periodic of how the millennial love story is going right now.
This is just a Black love story
Yeah.
based online.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Social media is everything nowadays. So I really want you to get into, you've done a big campaign about celibacy. Is that right?
Yes.
Like, so, I mean, this is a big thing right now. I think women are not hearing that. That's a very uncommon thing right now. Like, you have to talk about that.
Oh, yes. If we keep our legs closed, you can see people for who they are. We tend to get very stigmatized as women, and of course like fantasizing over the thought of love and end up losing ourselves. But the if you develop to detach yourself from the flesh, like really build up your stamina, build up becoming solid within yourself, you develop platonic, healthy relationships with men that you can actually trust. Now you're not running around screaming, these dudes ain't this, these dudes ain't that, and you're no longer pointing fingers at other people. You start pointing fingers at yourself because you are really in control of this life overall. Nobody is controlling you, but sex tends to have people losing their mind, losing their life, losing who they are because they're so caught up in this physical act and not understanding like we are spiritual beings. So I truly believe in soul ties. I truly believe in sexually transmitted diseases, unplanned pregnancies that go along with having this physical act. And I see so many benefits of keeping your legs closed that I am just the example of the benefit of keeping my legs closed for 5 years and how much success I have, how many relationships I have cultivated, how much self love that I truly have within myself to never stem for less. I have so much higher standards in life. I've cultivated a self worth within myself to know my worth, to know myself, and not be blinded by flesh, to not be blinded by the lies. And it's easily for people to get out of toxic situations when you're not physically wrapped up, entangled with someone either.
So have you been dating during these 5 years?
I'm really not focused on like romance right now. I feel like that's where we get so wrapped up into like thinking life is just about like finding a soulmate and just a love story. I view life as my life is as a comedy. It's not truly a romance, but of course, like I have friends, but that's literally not my focus in life is to find a partner. I believe we got to find ourselves first and foremost before we so out of whack and so out of order in life. You got to get whole within yourself before you go out in the world.
So, but I mean, 5 years. Like, do you not meet guys? Do you not like them? Do you shut it down? Do they just not vibe with you on a vibration level?
I personally love beautiful Black men. And of course, like I've been going on dates, but that's truly just not my focus. My focus is what I'm called to do here and who I am as a person and cultivating the love within myself. I have been loyal to my own soul. So everybody else, like I am my first commitment in this life. I am my primary partner. I'm truly married to myself and dating myself. So everybody else is just side pieces to me, honestly. So I have a lot of platonic relationships. And I realize what type of love style I am by just learning about me. I love differently. I can love multiple people, like how some people feel like they have to control people and just be with one person. I have such a huge heart that I can have like platonic relationships, friendships with so many more people. So why limit myself when I'm capable of loving so many people because I have loved myself?
Now, this is not common, right? What kind of feedback do you get around this? Like, are all your friends vibrating on a higher level? Do they come to you like someone who's figured it out? Like, what's the reaction you get?
Yes, I feel like you are who you attract. So I only attract people who are on my level. Like I don't kick it. I don't waste time. I only be where I'm supposed to be. So I'm usually you gonna catch me on set. Y'all gonna catch me creating. That's the best place if you wanna hang with me or get to know me is like let's create some magic, but I know what I came here to do, so I don't waste no more time for real.
So, are you trying to get women's groups? Like, what are we doing here? What's the plan?
The plan is continuing to like do what we were called to do. Of course, like I had things set in stone, like from I have a book called Self Love Manual. It's available now on Amazon. So that's just teaching not just women, but men as well. Men have forgot who they are and to love themselves because if they love themselves, they'll probably treat their women and women differently overall. They'll start to protect women, not just the women that they know, just protect women overall and be an ally for women and actually be a feminist for women. So I think we all should love ourselves. Like we were not taught how to love ourselves. We're not taught that in school. We are taught to find love outside of ourselves. We can't do that anymore. We're shifting a new paradigm and we have to go within because that's going to solve so many problems, that's going to heal so many traumas, and that's going to fix dysfunctional family members in your household. So we tend to go after partners that have familiarity with our parents. And if we don't have a healthy relationship with our parents, then how in the world are we going to have healthy relationship with other people? So we have to heal our families first, and then we have to heal ourselves. And that's by being with yourself. We got to stop running from ourselves. I hear so many brothers, especially, like scared to be alone. So they just using women to be their teddy bears. And that's also women as well. We scared. Does that even make sense to you? Like, why are we scared to be with ourselves? So we have to face that fear that we have to be in our own head, to sit with ourselves and be with ourselves because that's how we're going to heal.
A lot of people have no idea what we're talking about, right? So you're you're talking about being this higher version of yourself that has risen above all programming, and now you're just moving on the wavelength of flowing towards the things in your life that you're naturally drawn to. Yeah, most people, you know it. I don't even want to go into the people who are stuck paying bills and these kinds of things, right? They just don't even have the energy to go. This is a real detox, what we're talking about here. It's like a spiritual emotional detox. Turn off everything, turn off your phone, and just spend some time with yourself, moving outside in nature, you know, journaling, and just being physically active with yourself, not needing everyone for everything, and just getting it done and spending that time with yourself. Most people don't want to do that.
Oh, it takes a lot of work to do the inner work. So I understand why we will make excuses. I can understand why we will stay in victim consciousness to continue to blame other people and not realizing that we control this life. if you take your power back instead of giving your power over to everybody and saying, okay, here you go, you did this to me. We are acting like 5-year-old toddlers because we're not operating from the highest frequency that we are capable of. We so busy pointing out instead of pointing in. So we have to really grow up. Like we look like adults, but we're truly masking around operating from such a low frequency because we have not even took the time to even know ourselves.
So you're sending the message out. What if someone agrees with the message? Like, what is the next step? You know, I think like things like Facebook groups are good. You know, like I think you're on a meetup level, like at this point.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's all. I receive all of that. That's all in the works. I just truly trust the timing, divine timing. So I'm not into like right now in life, I realize like we can let things work for us. Like we don't have to work hard no more. I don't gotta do this, do that. So I do one step at a time, one day at a time. Like for real, but everything that you said is truly set in stone. I'm only 27, so we just getting started.
It's great. No, I mean, so here's my deal, right? I think I live in Princeton, New Jersey, which is about an hour outside of New York.
Yes.
And, you know, I feel very energized. I want to do a lot of things to help the Black community become a better version of what we are now. And there's a lot of work to be done. And I think we have to, you know, pay more attention to the people who are trying to help us get on that path, because people need, unfortunately, leadership. They need someone who can kind of rally, they can rally around. And at some point, you know, what we're talking about is wholeness. And you should be, if you have wholeness, you should want to move in a community of wholeness. That's the next level. So you want to be surrounded with like-minded people, you know, putting your ideas together, putting your time together, and growing in that kind of space. I think right now there's a lot of talk about wholeness, but the next step is, all right, now this is what a community is going to look like. We have to show up and we have to do that. It should be organic. Like it shouldn't be on you to like go and do it all, but that's the next step in the conversation.
Yes, that is definitely facts. And we have to show up for ourselves first and foremost. Like we have to show up every day for ourselves. And we have to realize that we are our own guru. Like we are moving to another paradigm where we don't need the preacher to preach to us. You can be your own preacher. You can be your own teacher. You can be your own healer. Like you are your own savior. Nobody's going to save you here. And once you put your life jacket on and start reaching out and save yourself, we all gonna be good, but we all have the answers within ourselves. So we just have to listen to that intuition and clog out the noise and like open up our third eye. But our third eye is so hidden because we have been trapped, we have been programmed, we have to unlearn a lot of stuff.
So I wanted you to give us a little bit about, you know, the early days before, because right now you sound like you've done a lot of work and you're fully embodying something that the average person sees as far-fetched. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about the early days before that. Like, was there a time when you weren't as woke as you are now, and then what you went through and how you started this journey?
I'm so blessed. I didn't really have a hard knock life. You know, that's like a juicy story. I was like, juicy story to have like a hard knock life. I always had wisdom. And of course, like when I was younger, I would ignore that. I was from a party girl to a mean girl to using my powers very evil. Like I was using my powers to do things I was not supposed to do. And then I started realizing what is truly life is all about. losing people close to you will really like set a switch up. It can really like light a fire up, and you can use it as motivation, or you can either get depressed. And I understand that we have a choice to make in this life. And I'm choosing me this lifetime around. I'm not betting on nobody else but myself, because I know we gonna win if we let God handle it. Like, I'm not about to work hard no more. So of course, like in high school and middle school, hanging with people who I wasn't supposed to hang with, being into like puppy love, little relationships that we called, and they were all just my teacher. They were all just, every experience is just gonna build you up and get you stronger and get you capable of. And I just kept ignoring God at some point in my life, but then college, like, really like woke me up and like, oh, it's time. And I understand like when people continue to run away from their responsibilities, like when you have a calling on your life and you know you're supposed to do something that is out of the ordinary, so that means you have to have discipline on your life. That means you can't be everywhere. That means you can't do a lot of things. That means you can't listen to a lot of these music and reality shows that will tarnish your growth and can hinder what you are capable of. You got to be a unicorn out here, and that takes a lot of discipline. So we finally just stepped up to the plate. But I'm just so thankful for my parents, especially my dad. Like, having a father in your life as a woman can really build your self-esteem. It can really add confidence all over you. And then seeing the dynamic of my mother, my father, getting all emotional, because it's truly can make you a solid individual. So it has, I was raised in a family that made me independent. So sometimes people can be codependent thinking they need people. My family has made me an independent woman. And that's a flex. I understand that people are like, people hating on independent women, but we shouldn't have to rely on nobody for especially emotional needs, financial needs, physical needs. We should all be self-sufficient humans out here. And I'm so blessed to be a self-sufficient human that I can take care of my emotional needs. I don't need anybody to make me happy. I can fill my own cup up. I know what can bring joy to my life overall. So I'm telling you, once you heal your inner childhood wounds, you heal a whole nother level in your life, because we all came here just to learn, is to grow. We didn't come here to take nothing with us. And once I just understand like the meaning of life, nothing really matters what we really tripping on. Like, it doesn't hold any weight. So that's what, just learning, man, knowledge can change the game as well.
Right now, you're ready to be like some kind of spiritual leader or something.
God is good, honestly. God is good.
Have you taken to the pulpit or anything like that?
You said the pulpit?
Yeah, in the church.
Oh, I realized church is within. Like, we having church right now. Everything is within. Once we know that those answers right there, that's all I want to remind people. Like, look, sis, look within, brother, look within, go within, because you are not gonna go without if you do that. You're not.
Church, I think church plays an important part in community.
That's what it's there for community. Yeah.
And I think what I'm like, I think you speaking in church would be very powerful.
Thank you. Hey, tell the church to hit me up. Honestly, I'll pull up real quick.
No, I'm serious. I'm very serious about it, because the thing is, this women in power thing is, it's very serious, and all these things are happening at the same time. So women are getting these messages very strongly, and I think we're heading in a direction that's a lot better. You know, there's a lot of body positivity, you know, a lot of these emotional intelligence, like we're really starting to get it. But at the same time, the power structural norms are still very strong. We still have models who are, you know, gagging every day to keep up their body for the model shoots. And we still have actors who are doing the same thing, working out like crazy before a movie. Like these things are sending us these subtle messages. And, you know, 6 months later, when you see them on the cover of the tabloid, it's like, look, they gained 15 pounds. And like all of these things are jacking us up still, even though we're making this progress, having these conversations. And the reality is the skinny girl gets married first. And that's a whole part of what you're trying to say. Forget getting married, you know, forget all of these things. Just focus on you.
Yeah. Yes, and that's like a dangerous act. Like that's liberation right there. Like what? Because we've been taught that's selfish. But if we really want to operate on Christ consciousness level, on some Christ consciousness, Jesus chose himself. Like Jesus truly living by healing other people, but he also separated himself. Like he went within every single day. Like he knew he had to go out in the desert and be with himself if he wanted to be a leader. But most people don't want to be a leader. Most people want to follow the crowd, and the crowd is going to lead you down a ditch because misery loves company. Misery loves company. But if you really want to operate from on a Christ consciousness level, Christ did not do what we operating from. Christ really lived and embodied self-love because he knew like that was God. Like embodying self-love is embodying God.
No, for real, so much. Like there's this thing that we're talking about. It's normalized. Some people, you feel like they get it. They're into crystals. They get all of this conscious talk, and then you have people who are like 9 to 5ers who are just like very straight up laced. They can kind of listen to the conversation. They'll kind of say something, but in the end, they go back to this 9 to 5 life, and they just kind of stay there. I mean, your role is not to save someone who's don't want to be saved. The idea is that you're talking to the people who feel like there's something missing from their life and they want to turn inward, but there's so many outward distractions that we're encouraged not to. Like, don't do that self-work. You go to a therapist every day for 5 years and you're still the same person. Like, it's something inward. The therapist can't do it for you.
Nobody can do it for you. Nobody. We look for it in a partner, a significant other, mommy and daddy. No one is going to fill the holes up until we take the responsibility over our lives to fill it up ourselves. I really found peace here. I really found true love here. I really found happiness here. I wake up every day thanking God. Like I thank God for everything. When I'm spending money, everything is just a gratitude moment when you realize like what really matters. When you live in gratitude and you're not complaining, making excuses, it's about taking your power back.
So are you taking coaching clients right now?
Yes.
How can they reach out to you?
My website is terachantelle.com and all of the information is just on the website.
Okay. I think self-love, these things, you know, I'm doing this podcast because I think that we have to come together as a community. We have to do business together and not just, you know, go to theaters and plays and sit next to each other. We have to really like face to face connect and start building more community, talking to each other a lot more. Otherwise, you know, it makes things a lot harder. You know, we kind of have our backs to each other, just facing the counter on what we're going to buy.
Yes, I thank you so much for this opportunity because that is facts, especially now with this whole pandemic. It's making us lose connection, human interaction. It's making us lose really what matters. We running around thinking everybody got cooties. we're living in fear. If you really want to operate from your highest consciousness, you know that you should not fear nothing. What is destined is already planned for you. We all came here with an assignment, and understand that if you just acting on your assignment, what is there to fear? I mean, unless you want to just stay living like a prisoner, because that's what everybody's just living like a prisoner. And I'm like, what? You're just missing out on this life.
It's a big deal. Now, were your parents religious? Did they go to church?
Yes. And then I realized, yeah.
Go
And
ahead.
I realized that it's much more than the four walls. It's much more than this organization. It's much more than what we were taught. That has built my solid foundation, knowing Jesus Christ. And I'm like, oh snap. We all got Jesus in us. Like we can all operate from Jesus level on Christ consciousness if we really about that life. And that's how I've chosen to live my life, is operating from that highest consciousness level, because that was truly amazing.
I'm just taking it all in. I mean, we're definitely spiritual beings, right? A lot of people who don't go to church at all, who are atheists, they don't even go that far. So level one is, believing in a higher power, then to understand that we came from the universe and we're just a physical interpretation of the universe and we're spirit. And the fact that we're able to feel, sense, and have this experience, it's like an anomaly, and that's us. So when you get into the shackle of a 9 to 5, or keeping your head down because you have a job, or getting into a relationship that holds you back, doesn't allow you to be the free version of yourself, you're not really living the way you're supposed to. But this is the societal norm, right? This is the stuff, like you said, it's in Disney movies. We've been reading it in nursery rhymes our whole life, and we just buy into it. And most people realize it, but if you try to be anything else, you'd be considered weird.
Oh yeah, I get called all kind of names, like because I think so differently. But when you like secure within yourself, you can just fade all that out and ignore all that noise and understand that it's coming from a lost place, and have sympathy for these people and have compassion, and just continue to lead with love and be like, God bless you. You'll figure it out eventually. You're gonna keep bumping your head, but I'm over here like being myself. And a lot of people don't want you to be yourself. A lot of people want you to be boxed in, follow the crowd. They want you to be workers. That's why they have the school system set up to ingrain us to not think outside of the norm. It's a lot of social norms. So if you don't think like social norms, like I don't view love the way social norms is viewing love. I don't view relationships the way social norms have been programming us. I don't view women the way that we have been programmed to, because I have thought for myself. And that's all you got to do is just think for yourself. It's like we have been so unconscious, and we just really going along and not even questioning, wait, why am I doing this? Why do I feel like I gotta be in a relationship? Why do I feel like I gotta have this job? Why do I feel like I gotta have kids? Why? All you gotta ask is why? And sometimes people be like, oh, I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, your parents tell you, get a relationship, get married, have kids, have a career, buy a house. Like even before you're thinking for yourself, that's the track you should be on.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like we have been raised with people who are unconscious because they didn't know either. So it's so important to isolate yourself. Like it's so important to just go off in nature and go with yourself and sit with yourself to think for yourself, because our parents didn't know any better. They were just being told what to do as well. And that's all everybody is doing, is just being told what to do by other people and not choosing themselves. So people want to break generational curses is because we have been trained by other people overall. But somebody got to take the shackles off. Somebody got to be the black sheep of the family and be like, I'm not doing this. And you save everybody when you do this. Somebody has to be the black sheep.
And you become someone to look to when it starts to work.
True that. And
Do
then
people,
that's exactly what it is. And because you teach people how to treat you when you the example of love for yourself. People are gonna raise up to get to you. You never have to stoop low anymore. People have to raise up to even meet your standards, get to be in your presence, because people understand like it's a blessing to be in your presence when you don't allow everybody to have access to you. You don't hang out with just anybody. You're not entertaining the foolishness, and they understand it's truly a blessing. So I can't even waste her time.
right? It's a great place to be, you know. I think we all have that better version of ourselves, you know, the one that doesn't eat desserts, the one that's not watching Netflix, the one that is exercising. We all know that little, you know, comes home and cleans up the house instead of just sitting down, you know, makes the phone calls, reads the book, does the extra studying. And the more you become that person, not just in the gym, but in your whole character, and you constantly do that kind of working out, self-work, building yourself up, you become this Christ consciousness version of yourself who's no longer afraid of people's opinions, who's actively pursuing all your wildest dreams. And you don't take the average stuff that people deal with, whether it's from a parent, a relative, an old friend, a job. I've risen above that. And the question is, how do people make a jump from where they are now to that? Because in the meantime, they still have a job with a boss, and they still have, you know, a old school conventional relationship that they're dealing with, and their parents telling them don't change. Like, people are dealing with this on multiple levels. I think most people do want it, but they're just not, they don't have the power, the strength to dig their way out, because it's a deep, dark process.
Yeah. You have to want better for yourself. You have to want more for yourself. You have to want it. You got to be your motivation. You got to be your inspiration. Nobody is going to motivate you. Nobody can do the work for you. It's just all about making the conscious decision to choose yourself every single day, to wake up and show up for yourself every single day. And trust me, this life is not for the weak. You going to run into negative thoughts, crazy thoughts, doubts within yourself, questioning yourself. But then you have to just get back into the awareness of self, to be aware that you're infinite, that you are intelligent, that you are whole, that you are complete. You lack nothing. You need nothing from anyone. You add a value to wherever you're at. And you have to know that you have God-like level potential, that in the snap of your fingers, anything can come, whatever way you want, whatever desires you have. But you can solve a lot of questions when you know yourself and know what you want out of life, know what type of people you want to attract in your life, know what type of life you want to live, and create that life. And we have to not get discouraged by the small blessings, and understand that time is just an illusion to where we're headed. We can't get discouraged, and all we have to do is just not give up. It's one day at a time. It's just, you just can't give up on yourself. The only way you gonna give up and just be like, then you're just gonna start back over again, because you know that's what you're supposed to do. So just keep going and just don't get discouraged.
What is um, what is one thing that if we knew about you, we would understand you better?
Mm. That, ooh, if you knew about me, that, Oh, that's a great question. Say it again. That's a good one.
Can you tell us one thing that if we understand this about you, we would understand you better?
I am operating from a Christ consciousness level.
You had, it seems like you had a break with the church at some point. The church is very much like they have their religious way of doing things. And I think you're more in a space of you don't need the church. Independent of the church, you can access God without all the stuff that the church is saying. You can just access that on your own. You don't need the book. Just dig into yourself, and that will give you full access to God. I get the sense that's your message.
Yeah, we gotta stop being so brainwashed by a lot of stuff. Like we have been just brainwashed. We have been programmed. It's about taking the shackles off of your mind and being independent with your thought process as an individual, as the way you move in this life. The best place to be is having autonomy over your life and understand you cannot do any wrong in this life. The only wrong that you can do is disobeying yourself. That's the only wrong you do. And we disobey ourselves every single day. It's about being loyal to your own soul. And I understand we have been taught, we have been trained to look outside of ourselves, to think someone else is our source of happiness, thinking that love is outside of ourselves. Once you have self-love within yourself, you are going to find love and be around love and surround yourself with love by everything, like from nature through people. You're going to have all sorts of love around you when you embody love. So you don't just have to find just one person. It's you're going to be just a loving individual overall. And who doesn't want to just love life, just be a lover of life?
It's a big transition to move past your hurt and to move to a place of security just in one swoop. It takes a lot of loneliness, a lot of depression times where you're just sitting by yourself. And I mean, I don't know if there's any other way, but it's really an inward journey that you have to go on. And it
You
sounds
are
like you've done that work.
Yeah, because you are never alone. You are never alone when you are with yourself. You have God with you, you have yourself with you. And that's what we have to understand. Like people, it's so sad that people are scared to be with themselves. And like you should be your own best friend. You should be your lover. Like you should be with you and having fun. It's a red flag when people say they bored with themselves. You know what? You can get things done when you with yourself. Change the loneliness to solitude, because that's when you really are going to start healing yourself.
Okay. I mean, listen, I'm all about it. I think people like the way you're saying is how I describe myself. And people like that, I think, make people uncomfortable because you don't subscribe to the tradition. You don't subscribe to oh, it's Monday, this is what we do. Oh, it's Wednesday, it's Christmas, this is what we do. Like, oh, it's your birthday, so this is what we do. And it's hard for them to box you as something. And it rubs people the wrong way a lot of times.
Yes, when you have autonomy over your life, you have nobody in control of you. You are controlling yourself. So people want to control you then. But hey, I feel like the only person that can truly that we should obey is God. We shouldn't have to submit to a soul. Nobody should be a submissive person. That means you're a slave and you are disobeying yourself. You are putting other people's desires before your own. That is not a flex being a submissive person.
What do you call this religion?
It's not a religion. It's a way of life. It's a
Yeah, what do you call
lifestyle.
it? What do you call that lifestyle?
I call it, yeah, I really call it a lifestyle, spirituality, of course, like Christ consciousness. Wherever people's frequency they're on, I'm easily able to adapt to it. But I love talking to open-minded people, honestly. That just
But I mean,
does.
seriously, it's in our world, it's a real thing. You know, people are very much like, when I go to the store, if you notice, all the jackets are what color? Black, right? People will go to the store and buy 10 million black jackets. If it's not black, it's gray or it's dark blue or dark green. Like we're all taught to kind of fall into the back. And when you go to the store and you pick up a yellow jacket, people are like, oh, like it's only a rare type of person who steps out in these kinds of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's in those little choices. And it's a special thing for sure. I think that like I keep saying, we have to. I think lately I've been really thinking that us working together, we can get something established to make life easier for the group. And I think we don't do a good job of working together as a collective. So I keep pushing that. A lot of people like yourself, they've found the independence on their own. So like taking on a group structure it's a one layer of work that they may not want to do. So like a church community comes with its own work, you know, that kind of thing. So why am I going to church every week to be surrounded by all these toxic people spewing their issues onto me? And you may say like, I don't want to be there. But the reality is, you know, you kind of have to choose if you want to take on this Christ consciousness message and bring it to people, or if you just want to live it within yourself, because it's a full-time job.
Lifestyle, baby. It's a lifestyle.
Right. But I know a lot of people who think they have this Christ consciousness, but they're like, oh, I'm not, you know, let the people who are lost figure it out. And then you have people like myself who's like trying to bring this message saying, hey, if you have it figured out, let's be over here. You know, let's build a community space where we can be visible, where we can like feel each other's company, you know, build our own supermarket, like, you know, our own little town where we feel, where people get it, you know?
Yes, come on. We need some builders out here. Like men that works with his hands.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it starts with events, conversations. So I'm getting way ahead of myself. That's where we would be down the road. But right now, these conversations are the groundwork for that. And my hope is that, you know, down the line, when people have these kinds of conversations, they can bring up this to say, oh yeah, like Chantelle said, oh, like Tera said, like Alexi said, you know, like, so then they're able to link this all in and say, okay, I get what you're saying. We're all on that page already, instead of having to have the same introduction conversation over and over, and actually building something in our town where we're at.
oh, absolutely. It really all it takes is one person to like answer the call, and then especially stop doing first and start being. Like we never just take the time to just be. Like we really don't have to do a lot in this life, but we have to simply like embrace the being of just the superpowers that we have within ourselves. But it really just takes people to all link up and together to all want it. And I believe that we're gonna get there. We're gonna get wherever we put our mind to it. It's done. It's already done. It's just time just in the way. So it's just a matter of time.
Tera, thank you so much. I really want to have some, going forward in the future, some episodes with panels and things like that. So I look forward to having you back, maybe on a panel, continue the conversation, promote your new movies. I'm gonna get the book, and I do want to sit down and watch the movies. I haven't done it yet. And maybe we can have some more conversations, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. It was so much fun.
You have a lot of good energy and it resonates in all your posts. I follow you on social media. I saw one of your posts. I tracked you down. I'm impressed that you took the time to be with me. I'm really gratitude for that. And, I'm just starting off, but certain people, I feel they have such a clarity, and your voice we need to hear voices like this. We need to practice things like this, and we're all saying it on one way or the other. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This is one of many more. So I just appreciate you for all that you're doing with the community. So it really just takes just making initiative and executing, and everything that is for you can never miss you. It's already set in stone. So I look forward to seeing what's to come in the future. I already know it's going to be a great future because this moment is great right now.
Exactly. And it's that attitude that I love. So thank you so much. We'll continue the conversation.
Yes, thank you.